You're standing in the open door of an Il-76, 4,000 feet above the Russian steppe, and the wind isn't just blowing, it's trying to rip the soul out of your chest. You aren't a regular infantryman. You aren't meat for a trench. You're wearing the telnyashka, the blue and white striped undershirt, and that means you belong to the sky. Below you is a world that hasn't realized you're coming yet. You look at the man in front of you, his parachute pack vibrating against the roar of the 4 jet engines, and you see the same look in his eyes, a mix of absolute terror and the cold, hard pride of the VDV. The light turns green. The jump master screams. You don't think. You step into the void. Welcome to the tip of the Russian spear. Welcome to the life of a Vozdushno Desantnie Voiska. Level 1 is the transformation. You don't just join the VDV, you are forged in a place called Ryazan. They call it the Higher Airborne Command School, but to you, it's just the place where your civilian self went to die. The instructors don't treat you like a student, they treat you like an insult to the history of the paratroopers. You spend 14 hours a day running in combat boots, carrying a log with 5 other guys who are vomiting from exhaustion. They make you jump from towers until your ankles feel like they're made of glass. They make you fight, not sparring, but real, ugly brawling, to see if you have the spirit. If you cry, you're out. If you complain, you're out. You learn to love the blue beret more than your own mother, because that beret is the only thing that separates you from the dirt suckers in the regular army. You graduate when you can recite the VDV motto, "Nobody but us," while your lungs are screaming for air and your face is covered in the mud of the training grounds. Level 2 is the jump. This is the baptism by silk. You're sitting in the belly of the plane, and the smell of hydraulic fluid and nervous sweat is thick enough to choke you. The veteran Kontraktniks are sleeping or joking, but you're checking your static line for the 100th time. When that door opens, the Russian winter hits the inside of the cabin like a physical blow. You jump. The opening shock of the D-10 parachute feels like a car crash. For 3 minutes, you are the most vulnerable thing on Earth, dangling under a white canopy while the wind whistles through your shroud lines. Then the ground rushes up. You don't land, you impact. You hit, roll, and you're out of your harness in 10 seconds, rifle up, scanning the tree line. You've just transitioned from a passenger to a predator. You are behind enemy lines. There is no retreat. There is no reinforcement. There is only the mission and the guys who jumped with you. Level 3 is the BMD grind. You aren't just a foot soldier, you're a mechanized paratrooper. You live inside the BMD-4, a tracked aluminum box that was designed to be dropped out of a plane with you inside it. It's cramped, it's loud, and it smells like diesel and old grease. You're packed in there like sardines with 6 other guys, your knees touching, your gear tangling. When the 100mm gun on the turret starts firing, the whole vehicle shakes like it's going to fall apart. You're moving at 60 kilometers an hour across broken terrain, the driver blinded by dust, the commander screaming over the intercom. Your job is to be the airmobile hammer. You strike deep, you seize the bridge, you hold the airport, and you wait for the heavy tanks to catch up. Most of the time they don't. You learn to live on adrenaline and sushki crackers, watching the horizon for the first sign of an enemy counterattack. You are the isolated force. You are the one they send when the situation is desperate. Level 4 is the urban meat grinder. They drop you into a city like Hostomel or Grozny and tell you to take a high-rise. This is where the elite label meets the reality of concrete and rebar. You're moving through stairwells that smell of cordite and rot. Every doorway is a gamble. You're using Schmel thermobaric launchers to clear rooms because you don't have time for a fair fight. You see the blue and white stripes of your comrades' shirts through their torn tunics, and it breaks your heart. You're losing friends in hallways that don't even have names. The V or Z painted on your gear is a target for every sniper in the city. You learn the art of the short-range grenade toss. You learn that a brick wall is only cover until a tank shell hits it. Your pride as a VDV soldier becomes a heavyweight. You have to be the one who doesn't break. You have to be the one who goes into the basement first. You are the guard, and guards don't retreat. Level 5 is the trench and drone reality. The high-speed jumps are over. Now, the elite paratroopers are being used as high-end infantry to plug gaps in the line. You're sitting in a muddy hole in the Donbass, looking at the same charred tree line for 3 months. The glory of the airborne is replaced by the buzz of a FPV drone. You're wearing Ratnik gear that's covered in white salt stains from your sweat. You spend your nights listening to the Baba Yaga, heavy drones, dropping mortar rounds on your dugout. You've lost the arrogance you had in Ryazan. Now you have professionalism. You know exactly how many seconds you have to dive for cover when you hear the whistle of a 155mm shell. You know how to fix a jammed AK-12 with a piece of wire and a prayer. You're the fire brigade. Whenever the line is failing, they put the VDV in the gap. You're tired, your back is ruined from the jumps, and your heart is hard. But you still wear the telnyashka. You still look at the regular soldiers with that paratrooper squint. You are the elite, even when you're covered in filth. Level 6 is the Shadow Veteran. You've survived 3 deployments. You've jumped into 2 different conflicts. Your body is a map of scars and micro-concussions from the blast waves. You're the Starshine Proporschik now, the senior warrant officer. You're the one who tells the Mobics to stop bunching up before a drone kills them all. You've seen the history of the VDV change from the flashy parades in Red Square to the grim, silent work of holding a tree line under a rain of cluster munitions. You don't talk about victory anymore. You talk about survival and honor. You think about the guys who stayed under their parachutes in the early days. You think about the General Margolov posters, and you wonder if he'd recognize the war you're fighting now. You go home on leave, and the civilian world feels like a dream. You stand in a park in Moscow or Novosibirsk on VDV Day, August 2nd, and you see the young kids in their blue berets jumping into fountains. You don't join them. You sit on a bench, drink a quiet toast to the fallen, and touch the striped shirt under your jacket. Level 7 is the Eternal Paratrooper. This is the level where the military is no longer a job. It is your entire cellular structure. You've reached a point where you can't sleep without the sound of a generator or a distant artillery duel. You're advising the new officers who think they know everything because they read a book. You show them the reality of the asymmetric battlefield. You show them how to hide a BMD from thermal satellites using wet blankets and branches. You are the institutional memory of the airborne. You know that no matter how much the technology changes, drones, satellites, precision missiles, there will always be a need for a man to step out of a plane into the dark. You are that man. You are the ghost of the sky. When you finally retire, or when the big one finally gets you, you know where you're going. You're going to that big drop zone in the sky where the parachute's always open and the vodka never runs out. You are a Russian VDV soldier. You are the Blue Beret. You are the Sky Wolf. You've lived through the hell of the jump and the purgatory of the trench. You've been the villain in some people's stories and the hero in your own. You didn't do it for the pay or the politics. You did it for the brotherhood of the striped shirt. You did it because nobody but us isn't just a slogan, it's a death pact. The world might fear you, or they might hate you, but they can never ignore you. Because as long as there is a Russian sky, there will be a VDV shadow moving across it. Check your canopy, check your reserve, stay aggressive. And remember, a paratrooper doesn't die, he just goes to regroup in the clouds.